a new era of Kentucky gymnastics as the Wildcats return to their home gym for the first time in 2 years. Yes, it looks different in here, but the energy is the same, and how could it not be when it's a top 10 matchup to start SEC competition here in Lexington? I'm Maggie Davis, joined tonight by former Kentucky gymnastics head coach Leah Little. 2 top 10 teams in attendance. What are you most excited to see?
Oh my gosh, Kentucky kids are really excited to be back in the old home Coliseum here, historic Memorial Coliseum. But 2 top 10 matchups tonight. This is going to be awesome.
Number 3, Alabama looking to play a little spoiler tonight of the 8th ranked Cats fun here on opening night, and they want to use Gabby Gladio to do that.
I tell you, Gabby has had a fantastic start for Alabama. She came out in the first meet and won the all-around. She's their top gymnast, and she should just add on to her scores tonight.
A junior with plenty of experience, but the first time on the road in the SEC this season, and she will be going up against the 8th ranked Cats. Kentucky, the number 1 team in the country on vault.
It's going to be exciting for Kentucky. They've been a good vault team in the past, but haven't quite been able to get those landings when needed. And they are number 1 in the country because they did that last weekend.
3 9-9s or better to end that apparatus last week. They'll look to repeat that again tonight, and we will not have to wait very long to see it. Here's how this meet is going to go. It's a dual meet, just 2 teams competing, which means we'll see 6 gymnasts per team competing in each event. 5 scores count, the lowest one gets dropped. Highest score at the end of the night wins, and of course we'll be keeping an eye on the all-around competition as well. It is Olympic order for the home team. That means Kentucky will go vault, bars, beam, and then floor, while Alabama on the road does the inverse, bars, vault, floor, and will finish on beam. A lot to look forward to anytime 2 SEC teams are going head-to-head. This league is as good as it has ever been, and Memorial Coliseum is ready to welcome competition back to Lexington. Kentucky spent all last season competing in Rupp Arena, home of the University of Kentucky men's basketball team. That seats about 20,000, so yes, it is fun, it's a cool environment, but it's not their home. We had the chance to speak with so many UK gymnasts this week who said something about Memorial just feels homey, and they're ready to be back in here competing in front of their home fans for the first time this year.
That's right. They all said that. They were great to be back, and I think they'll be pumped up, as the music's saying, and it's going to be a great meet tonight. Keep an eye on that all-around competition with Gabby and Miss Hudson for Bama.
The gymnasts will be wrapping up warm-ups here shortly. We'll continue to give you a look here at what this floor looks like as they get set to go here any minute. Here's who's leading the charge for the Wildcats. Head coach Tim Garrison entering his 14th season at the helm. This is team 51 for the Wildcats, 51 years as a varsity sport here in Lexington, and Coach Garrison coming off a season where he was named Co-SEC Coach of the Year.
I tell you, Coach Garrison has come here to Kentucky and done a fantastic job of getting this program back. And they are a contender now. He holds all the records, I think, for coaching here. I'm excited about that. I'm excited where this team is going to go, as well as Bama.
Well, excited about the SEC competition we'll see all year. Here's a fun fact for you. The first SEC championship was held in 1981. Alabama has finished in the top 4 at that meet every year since. They won 10 conference championships along the way, 2 of them thanks to their new head coach. She's entering her 3rd year now. Finally has a recruiting class of all of her girls in her gym. She's so excited about that. We'll talk a lot about their fabulous freshmen, but she's continued to build the culture that she was a part of as a member of the Crimson Tide. She earned 2 SEC rings as a member of this team, 2 national championship rings as well. Now in her 3rd season back at her alma mater and on the road in Lexington today, rocking the houndstooth, as all good Alabama coaches do, right?
I tell you what, Ashley brings an impressive resume. We couldn't even reel it off. She has so many things, but she's definitely bringing a new culture to Alabama. You know, coaches retire, coaches move on, and it's taken them a while to get back, but I think she's the one to do it.
Well, here's your returner for the Wildcats, Delaney Rodriguez, in her sophomore season. She'll get us started on the vault.
Lutsenko full for Delaney.
leadoff position is so important in a meet like this with the energy so high. Leah, what stands out about what she was able to do to start the meet tonight?
Well, I tell you, the first person off sets the tone, and she definitely had a great vault there. Little hop on the landing, not severe, but good start for Kentucky.
We will keep you updated with scores as they come in. You'll also be able to see those on your screen. We head now to the leadoff hitter for the Alabama Crimson Tide. It's Chloe LaCourcier, another sophomore in the second meet of the year, her second season with the Tide, and a second team All-American on this event last year.
That's right, Chloe is the #2 returner for Bama on bars, so she's important to the squad. We'll see if she can start off and set the tone for Bama. So we're going to be talking about some of the requirements on bars, things for you, the fans, to look at. Here comes the dismount, little twisting double back, little hop.
Small hop.
They're getting very strict on the stuck landing. Let's look at our release again. That's the dismount, full twisting double back, tiny hop. So now the judges are looking for an absolute stick. That means no movement of the body whatsoever on the landing. So we're going to be looking for a little harder judging on the landings this year.
Up next for the Cats, back on the vault, it's Cecily Rizzo. She had a 9.8 on this apparatus last week. The Cats took second place in the Sprouts Farmers Collegiate Quad Meet. We'll talk about that as the night goes on. So here's what we're looking for on this event. Leah, what's the toughest part of the vault?
Well, the landing, obviously, but what you want to look for as a fan is once they hit the table, you should see the body position rise into the air. If they start flipping immediately, they have no amplitude off the table, so that would be a deduction, even though it looks like a good vault. So that's one of the things. Obviously, the distance away from the table, again, shows the flight like that was very nice. If we watch that on the replay, we'll look for her flight off of the table and how far away she is from the table on the landing. Good example. So you see the two stripes on the landing mat, that actually helps the judges know the direction of the vault. So if they're to the left or the right of those lines, it's not an out of bounds mark, it's just about direction.
Our first score of the night is in. Delaney Rodriguez with a 9.8. Start things out on the vault. We talked about the leadoff position and how important that is to set the tone. Certainly a good start for the Wildcats. We'll get you Chloe LaCourcier's score as soon as we have it. Up next, though, it's her teammate, Jordan Paradise, getting set to go on the uneven bars. Here are the points of emphasis for this event. Similar to vault, you'll notice throughout the night, a lot of these events, emphasis on your releases, on your dismounts. This is a sport that is measured in perfection. What should the fans look for here?
Well, on bars, you're looking for, they are required elements in the bar routine. The release move changes from bar to bar. They've made a few changes on the Pack Salto and the Shapozhnikova on how those are going to be judged this year. That might be a little too wordy for some people. Of course, the handstand to be at a complete handstand within 10 degrees one way or the other, or it gets devalued. So we talked about a lot of times the routines look great from the spectator's eye, but they could be missing a difficulty, a connection bonus, or have some little tweak thing that the judges take.
Certainly a lot of requirements on each event. We'll keep you updated on all of those.
Beautiful handstand. Fail. Release move over the bar. A little bit short on that handstand. And then the dismount, double layout. Now, on that double layout, for example, her body position wasn't quite in the layout position on both saltos, so she'll get a little bit for that. Let's look at it again on replay. Look at the handstand. Perfect. Perfect handstand. And here's the dismount. If you watch her body position, she pikes that down a little bit, and a second flip, and then a little hop back. But a good routine, all of that.
First time we're seeing the freshman for Kentucky tonight. It's Riley Noonan out of Del Mar, California.
for the Cats with her twist on the table and off the table. So we'll watch that again on the replay. Take a look. She's going half on and then another half out. And sticks the landing. Good job.
Beautiful start for the Cats on the event where they are #1 in the country. We haven't even gotten to the heavy hitters in this lineup quite yet.
That's right. You can just feel the energy tonight, can't you?
Absolutely. That's what makes SEC competition so fun, especially the first one of the year, and it doesn't get much better than 2 top 10 programs.
That's right. We have 5 teams in the top 10. I think it's what
in
it
the
is.
top 15.
Top 15. So every
technicalities,
every
they're only moving up, right?
Every meet's like a championship meet in the SEC.
Next up for the Tide, we will show you Miss Lily Hudson, another one of those all-around competitors for Alabama this year. She's a senior. She had a 9.875 on this event last week. That's above her average from last season, working so hard in the off-season to up that difficulty and to up how she's actually hitting it when meet night rolls around.
I believe she scored a 9.854 last week on bars, so this could be a good routine. Nice handstand. That's her release move, and another release. They bailed the handstand. A little short there on the handstand again. Ready for the full twisting double back dismount. Very nice.
Beautiful
Awesome
dismount for Miss Lily Hudson.
I think you'll see a good score for that routine. Let's look at that dismount again. Way above the bar on a release, and now that is a stick. No body movement whatsoever.
That's important because it's not just the feet, it's the balance check.
It's the balance check, exactly. So you can have your feet stuck on the floor, but your upper body's trying to maintain balance. That's not a stick.
No one knows how to stick it quite like Mackenzie Wilson. 2 10s here last year. And
Great
another
vault.
beautiful vault by the Kentucky senior tonight.
I tell you, I've watched Mackenzie over the years just develop as a vaulter for the Kentucky squad, and she finally got that 10 last year and then just kept them going. Look at her height off the table, right pike position, and stuck landing, and she knew it.
You can see it on her face. She had a 9.95 on this event last week. That ties her for first in the country. That's going to be another huge score tonight.
Ryan's a new competitor for the Alabama squad this year. She placed first, I believe first at Division Nationals in the age group last year, 2024. So this should be a good routine. She's a leader in the NCAA on bars right now, ranked first. There's nothing worse as a gymnast than waiting.
Waiting is the hardest part, right?
Here's your top 10 bars leader in the NCAA by team. You got Oklahoma at the top, followed by Georgia, LSU, Denver, Florida, Utah, Alabama, Michigan State, Missouri, and Cal.
Well, there's what we're talking about. Top 10 teams, 6 of them now in this league as the Sooners joined first year in the Southeastern Conference. And they shot immediately back up to where they have been now the last couple of years, the very top of just about every category. But give it up for Alabama, 7th on that list and looking to keep moving forward with these routines tonight. Mackenzie Wilson scored just in for the Cats on vault. It's a 9-9 for Mackenzie this evening.
Ryan Fuller up for Bama. Beautiful release there. You see that half turn. out of the release move. That's bonus. He's got a beautiful swing. Double layout, the way it's supposed to be done. Great job for Ryan and Bama.
What a dismount for Ryan. You see her teammates immediately swarm to her. That's how you know
That's
you
right.
just crushed your routine.
She did.
Let's look at this double layout one more time. We'll show you the release first.
It's a salto release, the high body low bar requirement, and then the true double layout to a stick.
It's Isabella Magnelli now for the Cats.
Oh, there's another stick. I tell you what, there must be some chewing gum on these mats tonight.
The sticks just keep coming. Just as we saw for Bama on the bars, we see now for Kentucky on the vault. Immediately joining Bella.
Isabella Magnelli with the pike front half to a stick. I think she was happy with that.
That's
Look
a
at
10-0 start value.
That's awesome.
The celebration is sometimes the best part.
So Isabella came back for her 5th year this year for Kentucky. Next up on bars for Bama.
It is Gabby Gladio. We told you about her in the Open, one of the all-around gymnasts competing for the Crimson Tide today. Coming off a spectacular opening meet. The Tide taking care of business against the Tar Heels in that one. One of the only teams in the country to start the season with a 197 or better in their first meet. Gabby's a big reason
Beautiful
why.
above the bar release move. We talked about this before, how when the releases are above the bar, you know that they have got the height that the judges are looking for. Double tuck, little hop in the landing there. There's the gum we've been talking about.
We
Calms
found
the
it.
nerves, right? Beautiful release above the bar. Overshoot. And then double tuck. You can see a little hop back. It's going to cost her. But overall, a nice routine.
Here's a new name and a new face for Big Blue Nation to start getting to know. It is Skylar Killo Wilhelm, a senior who transferred to Lexington just this season after starting her career at the University of Washington. She's an all-around competitor, adding a lot to this team this year. Here's her vault.
Skylar's vault is going to add a lot to the Kentucky squad. Ushenko 4.5, 10-0 start value, and that was a pretty good one.
We had the chance to talk with Skylar this week. She says she is just honored to be on this team, honored to be in this conference, and that's how you start making a statement in the toughest gymnastics conference in the country.
Great vault there for Skylar. Kentucky assistant coach actually coached her at Washington. So a little connection there.
It's a small world in gymnastics.
All right, we're getting ready for our next routine.
And it's a freshman for the Crimson Tide. Peyton Walker is absolutely dynamic to watch. So much fun. Watch this routine with a smile on your face because you'll see what her coach describes as a firecracker.
Did you notice she's from Hercules, California?
I did, and she's just as strong as you have to be if you are from Hercules,
That's
California.
right. You got to live up to that, right?
She does. She is so much fun to watch. This is a very difficult routine. She competed for the very first time at this level last week, led her team in this event.
Coach was pretty excited about her in that routine she did last week. There's her release move. Very high. Nice handstands, both of them. Oh, little mistake there. Oh, goodness. Well, she was doing 2 back-to-back release moves, which is difficult. And she's just starting out as a freshman. She'll get that down, I'm sure, soon.
This is a very difficult routine, as we said. She will be able to return.
She's taking a minute just to get herself together. They're allowed 30 seconds to regroup. Make sure the athlete is okay and ready to finish the routine. Let's look at the mistake there. She just didn't quite rise that up. You watch her hands to get her hands where they needed to be on the bars.
a sport of millimeters. Good to see a smile after a fall like that. Looks like she will resume this routine. Obviously, there will be a significant deduction for the fall, but always reassuring to see a gymnast want to get back up there and finish it anyway.
That's right. Finish strong. Here comes Peyton's dismount. Very nice.
What a finish.
Full twisting double back dismount. Very nice.
Now we do expect to see Peyton again later in the meet, so it's good to finish your routine on a high note like that. Helps your momentum going forward.
That's right. It was a great routine in the making, and I can't wait to see that down the road in SET competition. She's going to be a real factor.
Now Isabella Magnelli's vault score has been finalized as the highest one for Kentucky, a 9.925 for Isabella. The final vault we showed you was Skylar Killer-Wilhelm. That's a 9.775, but you're not quite done seeing these cats compete. That's because each team on each event tonight is allowed an exhibition. Gives the coaches and these staffs a chance to see a little bit deeper into their lineup. It's a long season. It's a tough sport. Sometimes lineups change.
I've been asked a lot, why do they do that? And you know, you can only put 6 people up, and sometimes it's a hard choice on that 5th or 6th position. So this is an opportunity for the coaches to put someone out there under pressure with a crowd and see how they perform.
Here is one of those exhibitions. We'll send you back over to bars with the Crimson Tide. Natalie Pollock getting ready to go. The junior, second year now with Alabama, started her career at Pitt. And like you said, Leah, just a good way to get some experience under your belt. This is an intense meet today. Memorial Coliseum is a loud place to compete. It's very blue in here, something they're not used to in Tuscaloosa. Good to get the experience under these lights.
That's right. Well, every SEC meet is intense, that's for sure. But we just happened over the years that the manufacturers of the gymnastics mats are blue, so didn't work well for LSU, so they have a purple floor. And Alabama, of course, has red, so I don't know if you can order a color choice, but obviously on floor I think you can.
So as this is an exhibition, this will not count toward the total score. You can see now where both teams lie after the first rotation. As we told you up top, 6 gymnasts compete. The top 5 scores are counted. So the lowest one is dropped, and that's how you see your overall score at the moment. Kentucky with a slight edge over the Tide.
She's doing well so far with her release move, the barrel handstand over the low bar. Handstand is just a little short. And getting ready for her dismount, double layout, stick.
And a stick.
It's a great routine for exhibition.
That will end the first rotation in Lexington, but we have a whole lot more gymnastics still to come, including a very familiar face for all the college gymnast fans out there. Raina Worley, now Coach Worley after this. Lexington, it is Kentucky hosting Alabama. Lots of familiar faces on these rosters for collegiate gymnastics fans across the country, but maybe none more so than the newest member of UK's coaching staff, Raina Worley, in her first season as an assistant coach after spending 5 years with the Wildcats as an athlete, and one of the very best to ever do it at this school and in this sport. A 13-time All-American, 5 career 10s. We were lucky enough to witness 4 of them on the floor, 1 of them on bars, and she is adding just as much value to this team somehow as a member of this staff. Leah, so much expertise, and she's imparting all of that on these gymnasts who have looked up to her already for so many years.
That is correct. Anytime you can have someone, a past athlete, come back, especially of her caliber, and coach your athletes as well, it's just valuable. So I asked her, and she said she loves coaching. I think she wants to do that with her life. So I think the opportunities might be out there. But Raina is the same person. She's full of bubbly energy, and just she can impart all that experience to this Wildcat squad.
And she probably still has a little bit of the sass And the coolness of the wink after her 10 on bars.
Correct.
Pretty
And,
unbelievable. You
tell
can't
you-
replace Raina Worley, but you sure can keep her around as long as possible. That's good news for your team.
Absolutely. Good news.
When we come back, we have the University of Alabama taking the vault and the Cats on the bars. Tonight on the SEC Network, including one of the teams in action tonight, Alabama. Well, they get to go home, and how about hosting the #1 team in the country, Oklahoma, next week in Tuscaloosa. Tonight, though, it's all Crimson Tide and Wildcats as we welcome you back into Memorial Coliseum. $92 million. That's the amount of money that went into this place, an investment in women's sports by the University of Kentucky. You see it paying dividends tonight. It's a beautiful gym, and everybody, I think, not just the Wildcats, but both teams truly excited to compete in this gym for the first time since its reopening.
You know what? I wanted to say, Maggie, when they played the national anthem, a lot of people don't know this, but historic Memorial Coliseum was built in the 50s as a memorial to the over 9,000 Kentucky military that were lost during World War II. So this building does have significant impact and history, so I hope everybody will take the tour. It's amazing now, and UK did put out some money to build this beautiful place.
Here's Karis German on the vault for the Tide. See a couple steps on the landing there.
Isabella Ravelli.
It's Isabella Ravelli for the Cats. Don't get it confused with Isabella Magnelli. Keep that in mind tonight as the meet goes on. This is the junior Bowling Green state transfer in her first year with the Cats. Beautiful handstand.
It was, absolutely. Have turned to a beautiful above the bar release move. You know, it's always great when these freshmen can bring something to the lineup. Beautiful. Well, little hop there, but very nice double layout dismounts. We have a Bella, I think, at Kentucky, and an Isabella.
Absolutely.
So that's how they differentiate.
Let's take another look at this handstand that we pointed out.
So remember, 10 degrees of either side, and that's pretty much perfect. Very nice for Isabella. And here's the dismount again. Nice layout position, little hop on the landing. Otherwise, it would have been maybe a 10.
Can't ask for much more from your leadoff.
Absolutely. They set the pace for the rest of the team, and if they hit their routine, it makes it a little bit easier on the rest of the guys.
Well, for the Tide, Karis German recorded a 9.6 to open things up on the vault. That is a score they would most likely want to drop. They want that to be the lowest one and count all of the scores higher than that,
Correct.
which means the pressure's on for these next 5 gymnasts.
It's a nice vault for Bama. Again, she took a big hop afterwards. I didn't really see the vault rise off the table like I'd like to, but she had very good distance. Let's take a look again. Very good distance away from the table. That was huge.
Next on bars, Kentucky.
You see the
Great improvement from week 1 to week 2 for the Crimson Tide there. Corinne had a 9.425 last week. Certainly should be better than
This will
that this
definitely
week.
be better. Correct.
That's what you're looking for this early in the season. For the Cats, it's Ryan Nuinen.
Ryan is another new competitor for Kentucky. See what she can do here on the bars. Nice release. Clear hip to the handstand, beautiful. Overshoot the hand. Nicely done. We're looking for execution. Another good handstand. Let's see if she can finish strong. Above the bar. Little layout.
Wow!
There we go.
What a
For the
routine!
rookies. We're kicking it tonight.
Ryan, the rookie, coming in hot.
You know, we talk a lot about execution, but the top 10 or 15 teams in the country, the parity is getting so close that they have to squeeze those minutia of a quarter tenth, a half a tenth. So we're really looking for perfect execution. Like we said, we have a perfect sport. You have to be. All right, we have Kylie coming up for Bama here, freshman for Alabama this year.
Out of Auburn, not the Auburn that the Crimson Tide isn't too fond of, though. I think they'll take anybody from Auburn. Washington, especially when it is a gymnast like Miss Kylie Kwame. Very talented. She had a 9.775 year last week. Let's see how she does in week 2.
Schenko full and a half. That was fantastic vault for Bama. Stuck landing, beautiful vault.
Joy on her face as those heels click together. Her teammates calling for a 10.
Let's look at this again for everybody. We can watch the entry. She pushes up, blocks off the table. Full and a half stick. Just a little tighter legs. Only thing I saw that maybe the judges will take, but it was a very nice vault for Bama.
It's another senior now for the Cats. Haley Davis told us this week all she wants to improve on here is a stuck landing. That was her coach's advice this week. Be gritty. Focus on a stick.
Her amplitude on bars has really improved. Haley has improved so much since she came to Kentucky. The coaching here has brought her up another level. Oh, now that's a beautiful double layout. Little hop there, but perfect body position in the air. That's what you want to see.
Another look at the handstand.
Now, I want you to watch her height above the bars on the release, if we get to see this. Here comes the release. Now look at the amplitude. We didn't quite see it there. Same thing there. Nice body position on the bail, handstand. It's a good routine for the Cats.
Cats off to a good start at 9.8 for Isabella Ravelli, 9.85 for Ryan Noonan. And how about a 9.9 for Kylie Kwame of the Tide? Coming up next, it is Jordan Paradise. All smiles for the senior out of Tampa, back this year after missing last season with an injury. You don't take it for granted anymore after you deal with that. Here's your vault.
Yurchenko full and a half again. They are pretty good at that vault. I think she's pretty happy with that. Let's look at it again. The round off entry, the flight off the table, and a nice 1.5. Nice body position, just a little hop on the landing. Again, not that perfect stick without any balance errors, but a very, very nice vault for Bama.
Jillian Prokaski up next for the Cats, making sure everything looks good to go before she starts her routine. She had the team's highest score in their first meet of the season, a 9.9 last week. She's ranked 10th in the country on this event, looking to keep it going this week.
Now Jillian has such nice body lines in all of her routines, but she's really improved on bars, and it's going to be a big counter for the Cats this season. See how she kicks it off tonight. Her handstands, everything impeccable.
The dismount.
Swing. Let's see if the dismount's above the bar.
Wow!
There you go.
Jillian,
I
big
think
sigh of relief.
Let's go, she said. Let's watch the replay on that routine. That was outstanding for Jillian. Look at that body position. And she's rather tall, so to hold that layout position for 2 rotations, it's difficult without piking down. And she
Now
did very
Alabama
well.
returns 5 of its top scorers from last year on the vault, led by your next gymnast. It's Lily Hudson, a 10 last year against Florida.
Look at that ball. I mean, no deduction whatsoever. There you go.
Perfection last year, always in search of it again. 17th nationally in this event, a 4-time All-American.
Now watch this ball. Round off entry, look at that block off the table.
Beautiful.
Stuck landing. That's how it should be done, folks. Everything we look for.
That should be another huge score for the Tide.
Well, the velocity in her run enables her to get that lift off the table. She knew it. She knew it. Boom. Great vault for the Tide.
Nerves, elation. That's how fast it changes in the sport of gymnastics. Now this one's a little harder to read. Delaney Rodriguez She keeps a pretty straight face, but that's what makes her good. Composed under pressure always.
So far, Delaney's doing excellent. She had a great release move on both the high and low bar. Perfect handstand. Let's see what we have here in the dismount. There's that double layout. Just a little hopper, but I think Coach will take it. Look at her body positions. Don't see any break of the legs in the dismount. That's what we want. Okay, so we have Gabby on the vault, our last competitor for Bama. She's averaging a 9.85 on this event.
And following Lily Hudson, who just turned in a 9.925. How will Gabby follow that up?
Here we go. She had tremendous height. She likes that chewing gum, doesn't she? I can't think of who it is, but the one football player that always chews on his mouth protector, so she's going to set a new trend.
Well, not quite a stick on this landing for her. What happened on this one, Leo?
Well, she didn't quite get her twist around. She left her head back, not able to pull the twist all the way around, and just made the vault a little short. Not quite enough rotation there.
We're back to an all-around competitor for the Cats, Skylar Kilo Wilhelm, the fifth-year senior.
Beautiful. Pike Jaeger. Again, watch for execution.
She stuck this in warm-ups.
There it is.
And another one
There it
for
is.
Skylar.
You know, Maggie, I just noticed when you said her name this time, I think Skylar Killer Wilhelm is going to be her name. It sounds so much like that.
Well, her head coach doesn't compliment the killer attitude, but he did tell us he loves her finesse and her elegance.
Yes.
We saw that in this routine. Coach Garrison and most of his gymnasts used the word grit with us this week. That was a gritty way to finish her routine, to keep those feet stuck on the mat. Up next for Alabama, we have another exhibition routine for you. It is Faye Rodeo, a freshman. This will be her first go of the season, getting ready to show us what she has on the vault.
So a little nerves, but she wants to show Coach what she's got in this event, so maybe she can get in that lineup next week.
Still waiting on a score from Gabby Gladio, but as of right now, the Tide is in position to be able to drop that opener, that 9.6 from Paris German. That would keep them with a 49.150 on the vault. We'll see what Gabby turns in shortly as we get ready to watch Faye. As we wait for Gabby's score, a good time to remind you we are keeping our eyes on the all-around competition. Two of the members of Alabama are certainly two to watch. Lily Hudson and Gabby Gladio. She does turn in a 9.8.
But just not finishing that twist, I think, cost her in that ball.
Here's an exhibition now for Kentucky, Annie Reigert. Nice routine for Miss Annie, fighting to get in this lineup. The toughest part of SEC gymnastics sometimes is just competing against your own teammate to make that top six.
That's true. A little tough there for her. She didn't quite make it around. It's a little more block off the table, but I think she'll get there.
We are through 2 rotations in Lexington. Things are neck and neck. It's anybody's meet and plenty to celebrate. you're wearing blue or you're wearing red. We're back after that. Back into Lexington, where it's the 8th-ranked Wildcats hosting the 3rd-ranked Crimson Tide. Always exciting when it's a top 10 matchup. It's the start of SEC competition. We are neck and neck right now, these two teams within just a tenth of each other. We were able to talk to the Alabama coaching staff earlier this week, Leah, and head coach Ashley Johnston told us they want to be the team to walk into a loud arena, a quiet arena, a hot arena, a cold arena. It doesn't matter. They want to go on the road and execute. So far, both teams doing that.
Absolutely. You know, you can't let any situation change your performance. And she teaches that to her Alabama squad for sure. They have a mantra that both Maggie and I just fell in love with. They call it fierce joy. And you can see that in the way they warm up, the way they compete. You know, our sport is so intense and perfection-oriented. Joy comes in the morning. I love it.
Absolutely. You see the resumes here of her assistant coaches, and she said they worked really hard to determine what the culture should be for this specific team. That's how they landed on that fierce joy. She said it was really built on her own journey with the sport. You grow up in the elite world, it's all work, it's no play. It was fierce, and then you get to college. For her, it was at Alabama. She relearned that love for the sport there. She found appreciation for it again. She felt joy again. And combining those extremes, fierce and joy, that's what she believes allows you to perform at your best. This is a coaching staff that is going out there and recruiting gymnasts who are excited about that balance. And it takes a certain kind of gymnast, a certain kind of human, to want to be both fierce and joyful.
That's right. And the experience she has on this coaching staff is beyond amazing. And they incorporate that culture into this team. And I think college gymnastics as a whole has done that over the last 10 years or so, to realize these kids can come out at club level and it's fun in college. You actually have teammates, you can do things together, and you can dance and be excited and have fun and joy.
And sometimes nothing is more fun than the floor routine. That's where the Tide will be after this break. Last week, 4 straight 9-9s or better to end the meet. How do they recreate it here in Lexington? That's next. Here's a live look inside historic Memorial Coliseum, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, it doesn't look very historic. It actually looks brand new, and you would be right. It is both somehow historic. This is what it looked like around this time last year. Here's what it looks like today. $82 million worth of renovations, a major facelift, and yet the university found ways to keep a lot of the charm and that historic feeling involved. What you're looking at here is on some of the paneling throughout the arena. This is actually the original seating that used to be in place of what you see now as the blue chairs and the different seat backs, the different club suites, the different student section. It was all wood before. That's still incorporated in this building. They're still honoring so many of the great athletes who have competed here. You see the jerseys up for Kentucky Gymnastics. That means Jenny Hansen is still up on this board.
And we have the lounge.
The Jumbotron is fantastic. You can't even tell on TV how big it is. You have to come out and experience it in person. This arena is fantastic.
It has sure been a boost to the program and Kentucky's commitment to women's athletics, you know, women's volleyball, women's basketball, women's gymnastics that perform here and play here. It's a great place. Perfect for the sport of gymnastics.
Well, and every sport you just mentioned was in attendance here just a minute ago. The head coaches of Kentucky's other programs who use this space call Memorial Coliseum their home. That'd be Kenny Brooks with the women's basketball team, Craig Skinner with the volleyball program, and Blair Bergman with the stunt team. They rolled up in their matching pullovers, ready to cheer on the Kentucky gymnastics team this evening. And the Cats are on top right now by a tenth of a point as we move toward the third rotation.
It's going to be a close meet with these two top-ranked teams, and it's probably going to come down to the last routine, I would say.
Well, what else can you ask for in a meet like this? You expect it to be close. You expect it to be tight when it's two top 10 programs in attendance. That's exactly what we have in Lexington for you this evening.
You know, I just wanted to say Friday Night Heights.
Yes.
Everybody, you know, just set your dial. You know it's coming every Friday night, you know, an SEC competition. It used to be, hey, when are you on TV? And now we just know every Friday night you look for Friday Night Heights and you're going to see some fantastic athletics.
Well, in terms of what you will see next, that'll be Kentucky on the beam, Alabama on the floor. As we get ready to show you the balance beam, Leah, let's talk a little bit about what those at home should be looking for.
Well, there's requirements on every event. For balance beam, you're required to have an acrobatic series. If you do more than's required, you get what's called bonus. The routines actually don't start from a 10 like everybody thinks. They start from a 9-5, and you must earn those extra 5/10 through bonus connections, difficulty, things you do in the routine. Now, if you have a connection and you miss something, and that's one of your bonus elements, that's a big deduction. It can really devalue the routine. So I had someone in the stands ask me once, like, well, that was a perfect routine. Why did she get that score? I was like, well, her dismount was not in direction to the beam, and something else that she did as far as a bonus connection. She goes, oh, I never thought of that. So
Details, right?
yeah, just because it looks perfect doesn't mean that it is. So we'll kind of look for those things as the ladies compete tonight. Balance beam, as you know, that's the nerve-wracking event. If you ask most gymnasts, they'll tell you it's not their favorite.
And most coaches, right? You'll probably notice this throughout the meet, but we'll be keeping an eye on it too. If these coaches actually stand there and watch, because sometimes they're so nervous watching their gymnasts compete on such a narrow apparatus, such a slim margin of error, and a very slim margin of error in terms of looking at the top teams in the country right now, as we are not quite on the road to nationals yet. We're just in week 2, but it's never too early to start looking at what these teams have to do to get there. That's the ultimate goal of every team you see on Friday Night Heights or otherwise. In terms of who we're looking at tonight, well, Alabama, as we've said, ranked 3rd in the country. One of the only schools to hit that 197 threshold in the opening weeks. That's why they've earned that number 3 ranking. We had the chance to talk to head coach Ashley Johnson about that this week. She said we celebrated it for about 12 hours, and then we had to move on. That's how it works in this league. And Kentucky pleased but not satisfied with their week 1 performance as well. The word of the week was consistency. In our conversation with Coach Tim Garrison, that's what we heard him really stress. He actually said consistency is where we live, that's where we succeed, and that's what they're searching for on this event specifically. Beam was their lowest scored event last week. They want to see it sharper
Correct,
this week.
correct. And you know, the thing about balance beam, you'll notice the highest ranked competitors, they perform on balance beam like they do on the floor exercise. You know, it's not, it's just the whole difference in the girls that are at the top of this event. Their execution, their expression, their just confidence up there. They exude that confidence when they're on the beam. This is Delaney Rodriguez for Kentucky.
Leadoff hitter once again for the sophomore.
I think we call her D-Rod on the Kentucky team. That was her leap series. That is required. You must have a connection of 2 leaps or jump turns. This is going to be her acrobatic series, also a requirement, and she did 3.
Beautiful.
So she did 1 more than the requirement, which means she got bonus on that pass.
She bobbled that pass last week. That's what we're talking about, looking for sharpness this week. She's on pace right now.
Right, that was perfect, her triple flight. Okay, there's another acrobatic skill, a salto, side salto. It's also very difficult landing sideways on the beam because you can't see the landing. Round off 4.5 dismount. That was a great routine for the Cats. Way to start this off.
A tone setter.
Balance beam is the one event where the first person sets the tone, and if they fall, it puts so much pressure on the rest of the kids. So Delaney really started the Cats off well, and Bama is up next on floor. I think all the fans love floor because it's fun, it's exciting, and the kids get to pick their music, so you'll see some very interesting things. Floor is like all the other events where there are requirements that the athletes have to do. If they miss any of those, it's a deduction. They step out of bounds, it's a deduction. So let's watch and look for some unique double tuck. Her opening pass. She's going to get a deduction for her landing on that, but it won't be much. This is her leap series requirement. A little deduction for the toes on the first one. Judges look for little tiny things. We're looking for half-tenths. And they're very particular, as they should be. I wouldn't want to pick the winner out of these top 10 schools.
The differences are so minute when you get to this level. Sometimes something like a little worm might set you apart.
One thing about floor exercise, the ladies get to put their own personalities in their floor routine and what type of dance they do, what type of music they pick, and I love that. It's a very nice routine from Rachel. Or Ryan, I'm sorry. Touch front to the double tuck, but she lost her landing there. Won't be a big deduction, but she will get one. That's the Wolf's turn. Nicely done. That has bonus. Last pass, 4.5, front layout.
So we talked about the leadoff setting the tone doesn't get too much better than a 9-9 by your first to go on this apparatus. That was Delaney Rodriguez, and next up it's the sophomore, Kreslin Rose, a performer. Solid routine last week, looking for improvement again.
She sure is. Kreslin has so much personality, and it just comes out on beam and floor. She loves to dance, as she just showed you. You know, Raina used to sing through her beam routine. Kreslin is doing a little bit of the same. Help to relax her a little bit. She just exudes so much confidence up there. We were talking earlier about, you know, how the judges perceive when somebody really attacks the beam and is aggressive, and somebody that's just slow and methodical and nervous and scared. So far, I haven't seen many, if any, deductions. Let's get ready for her dismount. Roundoff, 4.5. Now, if you notice there, like we talked about, the direction on the landing of her dismount, she's going to get deducted for that. She has to stay square to the beam. So we'll look at a few highlights. This is the dismount again. The dismount was fine. She just, her direction wasn't square to the beam. But very nice routine.
We'll take you back to the floor now, where Ryan Rybicki is getting ready to go for the tie. This is a high energy routine. Take a sip of your coffee, get ready to try and keep up with her. This one is all fun all the time, and it was actually influenced, Leah, you talked about getting to put some of your personality into it. This routine's influenced by her studying abroad and engaging with other cultures.
That is really awesome, and she opened with a double tuck pass. She took a little bounce hop out of it, so she will land it out of bounds. That's going to cost her a little bit of a deduction. Sometimes the athletes get so much power out of their skills, they just bounce and they can't control it. It's not that the skill was bad, they just had too much energy.
And that can happen, especially early on in your career. She is a junior, but last week was her collegiate debut. Her coach called it a breakout moment. Said she's actually been ready for 2 years, but just kept getting edged out of the lineup just little by little. She made a strong statement last week, looking to back it up again this week on the road.
She had a really nice leap series in the middle of this routine. And she's getting ready here for another tumbling pass. 4.5. Cool. Very nice.
A little nod to the Crimson Tide.
In the room. I have to laugh. I do that with my grandkids.
I love it. I love it. Let's look at some of these passes again.
Double tuck, landing, you see she bounced out. 10th deduction. Last pass here. Oh, full. Boom. Very nice routine for Bama. I can see why she's in the lineup.
Up next, it is Sharon Lee making her collegiate debut.
The music some of these Kentucky athletes have chosen, it's definitely gives you goosies. One way to relax. Okay, another triple flight series for Kentucky. There's her two-element dance series, very nicely done. Sharon has just been gradually moving up the lineup and getting more confident every time she competes.
Here comes the dismount.
And off, 4.5 stop. This is going to be a good score for the Cats.
For Sharon
Absolutely.
Lee, Kentucky off to a stellar start on the beam. First two Cats in the lineup, Delaney Rodriguez and Kreslin Rose, both up from their scores last week. Sharon Lee about to add a big number to it.
Beautiful triple flight there. And her 4.5 stuck dismount. One thing the young gymnasts watching, watch these collegiate athletes on the beam, how they stay on their toes. So when your coach is always fussing at you to stay on your toes, that's why. So
they
watch
might
this
be onto
routine.
something. Here's Miss Karis German. We talked about Fierce Joy.
Double layout, boom.
She's one of the leaders on this team in terms of creating that Fierce Joy this week. They call her a Vibe Crew leader. They pick them
Vibe
every
Crew.
single week. She's leading the vibes this week.
I'll tell you what, she definitely has enthusiasm and excitement in her routine. Little Janet coming right now. There's her leap series. Oh, busting a move.
Karis making her apparatus debut here in Lexington on floor.
I think this is going to be a crowd favorite, both home and away. She's going to get crunk in this routine. There we go. Bringing that crowd in, getting the judges involved. Ooh, I'm getting goosies. Boom. I love it.
Excellent apparatus debut for the junior out of Spring, Texas. We'll give you another look at some of the biggest moments of this routine.
Let's look at this double layout. Watch her body position all the way through both rotations. One thing these collegiate athletes do is get the crowd engaged. It used to be kind of like tennis in the old days, like you didn't talk during the routine. But now we want crowd participation. We want you to scream and yell and get excited. This is Jillian for Kentucky. She is a true artist on the balance beam. Just her body lines, her hands. I asked her when we went to practice to watch if she had a dance background, and she does not. And I was totally surprised by that. And she said she just always loved to dance, but she sure looks someone that is trained in dance.
Well, we told you earlier, Coach Garrison complimented Skylar Killer-Wilhelm, her elegance, her finesse. He actually compared her and those lines you were talking about to those of Jillian. She sets the standard in that aspect for this team. You see it on display so far in this routine.
Right. Just her body lines are just magnificent. You know, Jillian was injured last year, and we didn't really get to see her full complement of what she's able to do, but she's coming back this year. She's back in the lineup on floor and beam and bars and maybe vault soon, but that'll be a good addition to the Kentucky lineup. Let's look at the dismount. This is a Gainer Pike.
6 on 4 for Alabama.
Well,
Shania Adams.
wasn't quite as thick, but it's objective or subjective, I guess.
Well, Kentucky off to a very good start on its scores on the beam. Lowest so far is a 9.825. They have some wiggle room as we go back to the floor with the Crimson Tide. It is Shania Adams. Lots of family and friends in attendance tonight. She's from up the road in Columbus, Ohio. You might think that's not that close to Lexington, but it's certainly closer than it is to Tuscaloosa.
That's right.
And they're excited to see her compete tonight. She had a 9.925 here last week.
Well, it should be an exciting routine for us to watch. And, you know, I want to say just a minute about the judges. I don't think people have any comprehension what these judges go through to learn the sport of gymnastics. They have to start at the lowest level and work their way up to the elite level judging, and it is mountains of material. Mountains. One of them laid all her stuff out that she was studying for the elite course, and it was just unbelievable. But you see the young man walking around, and he is the meet officiant, so he kind of keeps an eye on the scores and makes sure everything's going correctly. But you have to have a higher rating to have, there he is right there. You have to have a higher rating to do that, and he makes sure everything's in line. But hats off, kudos to the judge, all the judges out there across the country that work your tail off to do what you do. We thank you, we appreciate you.
Absolutely. And hats off to our crew here in Lexington for giving us so many great camera angles of everything we were just talking about there.
There he is.
Sometimes you see delays like this, you wonder if something was wrong, right? If something's messed up, that's not necessarily the case. This is a sport, we've said it over and over again, that looks for perfection. That applies to judging as well. You'd rather it be right than be rushed.
Right, and what happens is the scores of the judges must be in range within a certain tenths. Like you can't have somebody give a 9.8, somebody get a 8.2. You know, they have to be within a certain 2/10 range, or they're out of range, and the meet director comes over and discusses it. So that, and sometimes inquiries come in from the coaches where they could have missed a bonus connection. I have fought many battles on multiple turns being, 3/4 or 7/8 and not all the way around. So,
well, Shania Adams has the green flag and she's off.
Woo! Beautiful wolf turn. And I love when the athlete keeps dancing to the tumbling pass, instead of just standing in the corner waving their arms. Beautiful double pike, perfectly done. And she's right on every beat of the music. That's another thing that, as a choreographer, I always like to do. Every beat of the music says something, so you should dance to it.
Musicality. Shania's routine was one of the 4 straight 9.9s or better for the Tide last meet. It is a little harder on the road to build your own momentum, right? To feed off of these moments. But she's doing a great job of that in this routine.
Well, she's got all the Bama gymnasts dancing. Maybe some people in the crowd. This has been a very nice routine, very artistic. She's like Prokowski from Kentucky. She has those long, beautiful lines to her dance. One and a half front layout. A little trouble with the landing, but it won't hurt her too much, but she will get a deduction. But I haven't seen too many in this routine. Great job for Bama.
Shania Adams.
Let's look at this opening pass. Double pike, perfect stick on the landing.
Next on beam for Kentucky.
And this is the last pass. Front full, front layout. Just a little short on the rotation there.
Now we'll send you back to beam where you will find Skylar Pillow Wilhelm. She came up in a tough spot last week. We've talked about dropping the lowest score, what that does to the gymnasts who come up after her. She came up in one of those tough spots last week, and she responded with a 9-8, helped them get back into that meet. Looking for another repeat this week. Again, focus on sharpness, consistency.
Well, the Kentucky beam is sure looking better this week, so that should help them improve their score overall.
All scores up so far by the Cats on beam. Of course, Sharon Lee inserted into the lineup. She was not there last week, but a 9-9 you'll take any day of the week. Jillian Prokaski's turned in a 9-8-5. Perfect.
And notice how she looked out at the crowd, the judges, and made eye contact, you know, so her focus isn't totally on the beam. I always coach beam like it's not just a straight line, you know, you got all these people, you know, 360 that you need to entertain.
It's a team sport, and sometimes your team can include the crowd. Let's take another look at Skylar's routine.
This is her leap connection.
Next on floor for Alabama.
This is the new dismount this week.
It's a side aerial to a 1.5. Wasn't quite that balance stick we'd like, but new dismount. She'll have that cleaned up pretty soon.
It's Lily Hudson next for the Tide. Are you ready to be thunderstruck? Because that's what she wants you to feel when you watch this routine. And then we'll get a little Alabama Crimson Tide pride involved as well. Another high energy routine for Alabama.
Very nice. You can see the look on her face. She's, oh, sweet home Alabama. Here we go. You know, I think every Alabama team has had this routine, or this music rather.
Yes, part of that tradition.
Definitely gets their fans engaged. Wonder what they say to that. I can't quite tell. Oh, BAMA. There we go.
Alabama gymnasts incorporate that in their floor routines and on their beam routines. A little bit of a mixture in here because you hear BAMA by those gymnasts. You hear We Are UK by the fans in attendance. That's why it's a little hard to understand through your screen.
SEC, baby, right?
Well, here's an
Here we
SEC
go.
song for you.
I guess we'll hear some Shabuzi for the year's over. Great job. All right,
Another look.
front layout. Beautiful twisting, beautiful dance. She just incorporated different genres. I love that about her routine.
Isabella McNally.
Beautiful twisting.
Isabella Magnelli, better known as the beam queen of this Kentucky team. Highest score for the Cats last week is a 9.925. It's a new song for her this year. She's excited for the crowd to hear for the first time. She's ranked 4th nationally in this event.
Triple flight series, perfectly done. Not a wobble in sight.
Flawless 2 weeks in a row. That's why she's the beam queen.
Triple leap series, beautiful side straddle. Beautiful hands. She's another one of those athletes that just has beautiful lines. The pike gainer dismount. Done. The beam queen.
And that is why she's the beam queen. Everybody in here knows it. And you can see it on her face, too. One of those
There's
few
the triple
gymnasts.
flight to a absolute boomstick. Great job for Isabella.
Only the
Perfect
elite.
landing. She knew it.
Only the
She knew
elite
it.
can look that comfortable on an event that tries to make you as uncomfortable as possible. Up next, it is Gabby Gladio, an absolute force on this routine. It won her the all-around title at Bama's opening meet. She needed a 9.925. She went out there and performed a 9.95.
Well, this is definitely high energy music. Let's see how she kicks it off. Full in. That's the way to go. I can hear the Bama fans in the background.
Bama welcome back 4 gymnasts who scored at least a 9.925 on this event last season, including Gabby Gladio, regular season All-American on the floor.
Again, the required series with a full twist in there makes it more difficult, higher value. And another thing they want to see as far as the dance on the floor is high moves, low moves on the floor, all directions. She's going to finish it off. Oh, very nice. Butt layout, 4.5 to her dance move. Very nice ending. Boom.
Another excellent routine by the junior Gabby Gladio.
That's what she's talking about. Here she goes. Full in. Perfect landing. She kicks it off again. Front layout. Right full to a beautiful split leap. She sure had some energy in that routine.
We'll get you Gabby's score in just a minute. There is a score change to Alabama's floor lineup. We want to point out to you here, Rachel Rybicki, originally given a 9.8. That has been changed to a 9.7. You see that reflected on the right side of your screen as we show you Kentucky's exhibition on the beam.
Got a very close competition going on here between these two nationally ranked teams.
And we should point out Isabella Magnelli, another 9.925 on the beam. You know you've had a pretty successful night on the beam when the score you drop is better than a 9.8.
Exactly. Kentucky had a great night on the beam. I want to say that Chesney is named after Kenny Chesney. Had to get that in there.
Beautiful routine by Chesney Bennett in her exhibition debut for Kentucky.
Good job for the freshman. Working her way into the lineup.
Competition is stiff on these teams, especially when they are both in the top 10. This SEC stacked top to bottom. We're taking a look after this.
Coming in, and they're so good, and they have a great reputation, and everyone knows Oklahoma's great reputation.
Oklahoma is a great team. They're competitive, and it just really ups that competitive level for everyone.
Whoa, Oklahoma's coming, like we gotta be on our A game. Like I think they just bring that good pressure to the SEC, which is really good for us.
It puts them to the test being against the best conference in the nation, and it puts everybody else to the test. So I'm excited to see how it plays out.
They just bring a higher level of perfection to everything that they do in their gymnastics, and so I think that's something that all of us can rise to the challenge.
It just inspires each one of us to work harder, to do more, to be the best we can be, and elevate our game as well.
I mean, Oklahoma brings an incredible amount of competitiveness, experience, and I think ultimately it just continues to help us become the top women's sport in the country.
I feel like anytime we can get a great team that joins our conference, that elevates everybody around us.
I think it's just honestly going to push us to work even harder and be better.
Have their own type of team goals, their own things that they're gonna just accomplish, and they just devour everybody.
elite when your presence alone elevates those around you. That's what the Oklahoma Sooners are doing in an already stellar conference known as the Southeastern Conference, and yet the best just keeps getting better. Oklahoma turning in a phenomenal score to open the season, first place at the Sprout Farmers Market Collegiate Quad to start the year. There are now 9 teams in the SEC, all 9 right now ranked in the top 20. We see some of the headlines, Haley Bryant back for another year with the Tigers. And I think this is a good representation of how good the league is right now. Alabama's 3rd in the country. They're also 3rd in the SEC behind the 2 teams you see, Oklahoma and LSU. Kentucky 8th in the country, 5th in this conference, and the stakes could not be higher even in the conference championship conversation, because the SEC champs this year, top 8 teams in the league get to go. That means one of those 9 teams gets left out. It's the first time that'll happen. Every meet is important, and this one is coming down to the wire. It all comes down to this. It's Friday Night Heights as we get you set for the 4th and final rotation. Alabama and Kentucky neck and neck for the combined team score. And we have a member of each team tied for the all-around title. Lily Hudson for Alabama, Delaney Rodriguez for Kentucky. A lot of pressure as we enter this 4th rotation. Leah Little with me now. Leah, what stood out to you so far? What do you need to see to finish this meet?
I'll tell you what, it all comes down to that last event. Both teams have done well all the way around, and, you know, it's crunch time. And like Coach Ashley said, it doesn't matter what the temperature is in the gym or where the equipment is placed or what, you know, good teams get it done. So with this kind of competition in the conference, they just got to get it done, both teams. Kentucky ending on floors gives them an advantage, I think, being at the home crowd. But a great team also is not going to give up on the balance beat. So it'll be down to the wire, I think.
Well, we will show you these routines shortly. Alabama, like we said, on the beam. Kentucky on the floor. We talked about great teams can finish meets like this when they are close. Talking with Coach Tim Garrison of Kentucky this week. Talked a lot about consistency. We've said that, the grit, right, the sharpness. We've seen that so far, but he also said the skill of his team this year is being steady and being clean. They're not relying on 1 or 2 wow moments, but a lineup of consistency while Alabama looks at the beam to finish this meet, where they return the least production here, but Chloe LaCourcier stepping up to the plate, a sophomore. Here's your all-around update. We told you this one neck and neck, just like the combined team scores. 29-6 for both Lily Hudson of Alabama, Delaney Rodriguez of Kentucky. We will show you Delaney Rodriguez right now. This is a big moment for her, not just for her team, but in that all-around competition as well. Her last chance to prove she should get that crown tonight.
You know, when the home team has the opportunity to finish on floor, it gets that crowd boost behind them. It gives you a little bit of a relaxation edge. When you have to finish on beam, it makes it a little tougher. But again, good competitors get it done no matter where they are or what the circumstance.
Kentucky was excellent on the floor last week. They're ranked 8th in the country in this event. Wait for the crowd participation. Delaney really working on the performance this season. She's a sophomore, a little bit more comfortable now, right? She has a year under her belt. And of course, back inside Memorial Coliseum, her home gyms.
It takes a little time to get that club type competition. They realize they can perform and do things a little more exciting in college. That's what makes it fun.
And Delaney, although she is a sophomore, this is her first time in Memorial. This was completely under construction this time last year. So her first time in this historic venue as well.
A beautiful straddle leap there at the end of her tumbling pass. Tremendous amplitude on that. claw for us at the end.
That's Delaney Rodriguez looking for a high score here to put her in front in the all-around competition. Leah, explain the lunge here and how that works for landings in college.
You must land it and then do the lunge. You can't hop into a lunge after you've completed a tumbling pass. So again, it's the stick lunge. It's not lunging as you land.
We go to Corinne Banogin now for the Tide. Quick reference of the Leo here, another fabulous Leos we see all across the country. This is known as the Bryant Leo, making its debut as well, the signature houndstooth, paying homage to their former and legendary football coach, Bear Bryant.
You know, the leotards these days are just amazing. They have, there's a website that has a national competition on leotards, or the leotard of the week.
Oh, she hangs on by a toe.
Yes, but that's going to be a big deduction. It's not a fall, but almost the deduction almost same as a fall. Little Backstreet Boys.
Important to see her
she just did.
respond here, finish strong and set the tone for the gymnast to go after her. Nice dismount by Corinne Banogin. Let's take a look at this save again. Like you said, a deduction, but she hangs on. That's a show of resilience.
Yes, when she pulled up out of her salto, her chest was over the side of the beam, you can see. Very nice gainer dismount full.
Delaney Rodriguez posting a 9.85 on floor. She's followed up by a true freshman, Anna Flynn Cashin, making her floor debut for the Cats. She competed on vault last week for Kentucky, had a stellar vault routine. This is our first opportunity at seeing her floor.
It's always great to see these new kids come in and make impact on the team. That's how you get better. Very nice tumbling, beautiful execution. Required 2-element leap series. Winding it down here, very interesting.
She gotcha.
I think the crowd got that.
We're not done yet.
Not done yet.
Stamina is so important in these routines. Finishing strong.
Nice ending to a very beautiful routine. This young lady is making her impact here at Kentucky as a rookie. Let's take a look again. That 4.5 front layout, beautifully done.
Next on beam for Alabama, Lily Hudson.
Okay, remember, Lily Hudson and Delaney Rodriguez were tied in the all-around competition. Delaney had a 9.85 on the floor. Lily needs to match that to tie, exceed it to win.
Wow, that's close.
A 9.85, that's the number we're looking for. She had a 9.9 last week. It's possible. We'll have a triple series.
Okay. 2-element pass there. I don't know if she missed it or going safe. You know, we talk about tenths and hundredths of points or half-tenths.
It makes a difference when a meet is as close as this one is. Lily's the only Bama gymnast ranked in the top 25 on this event, tied for 9th in the country, but needing to finish strong here after a couple of bobbles. dismount.
Nice dismount. You know, consistency across 4 events, that's what she's been doing. That's what you need to do.
But do
Stay in
you
the head.
think it's a 9.85?
Well, she had a few bobbles there, but it was a good routine. A few little balance errors. Good stuck dismount.
We'll have that score for you soon. In the meantime, no better way to pass the time than with Isabella Magnelli on the floor. Another electric routine by the senior. So much fun. You can tell she has a blast performing this. She told us this week Memorial just feels homey, and she was so excited to get to do this in her home again.
That's one of the best switch sides that I've seen. And she's not very tall, but her leaps are beautiful. Lots of amplitude. I think she can reel the crowd in, reel the judges in with this routine. You kind of try to have a place in your routine where you can breathe a little bit, but still be beautiful and dance.
Big
That's
breath.
her last pass.
Big pass.
Double pike. Like her straddle leaps are amazing.
Should be a big score for Isabella Magnelli.
9.85 for Hudson on the beam.
Here's Isabella's last pass again, talking about that dismount, that step.
Yeah,
but
just a little low on that double pike.
And we do have Lily Hudson's score on the beam. It was a 9.85, so as long as there are no inquiries made at this point, if those scores remain final, then it looks like Delaney Rodriguez and Lily Hudson will tie in the all-around competition.
Wow.
The meet itself, very much still up for grabs.
Like we said, that's how close these meets are becoming because the teams are so good now. The collegiate teams have Olympians, All-Americans, USA national champions. I mean, it's just becoming a fabulous sport in NCAA. If you're not watching, or if you are watching, get your friends to watch something exciting. The thrill of NASCAR.
Well, it's Kylie Kwame up next for the Tide.
She has very beautiful body lines as well. We talked about the beautiful front toss without an ounce of movement and very high. You don't usually see those that high. Here comes her acro series. Oh, no, no. Oh, that's too bad. She had a beautiful routine going there. Really nice routine going.
It looked like she was close to hanging on there. That first wobble, you saw the toe grip, but
as
just
you
caught
know,
the wrong angle.
Right. You know, there's not a lot of margin of error in 4 inches. So, and her leaps are just beautiful. It's too bad.
So this will be the score Alabama hopes to drop based on that fall completely off the beam. Obviously a significant deduction. They'll have to respond in their last 2 routines after this one.
Let's see how her direction was off on her dismount and her legs were loose there in her twisting. But she really had a nice routine going. I hate that for her.
The tough part about gymnastics, you have to wait a whole week to do it again for a real score like that. Little love from our head coach there. We'll move over back to the floor where it is Jillian Prokaski once again for Kentucky.
Jillian went 9.825 last weekend. We'll see if she can improve upon her score this week.
Once again, look for that elegance that she is known for in Kentucky's gym.
She just did a full twisting ring jump, which is very difficult. as bonus. This music, I think, fits her perfect. There's the ring leap again, switch ring. She had a 3-element leap series that time. She's working that crowd a little bit.
The floor is where Kentucky built back their momentum last week. They were hanging out in third, teetering on fourth place in that quad meet. They posted phenomenal scores on the floor. That's how they started that movement for their second place finish. You want to see them finish strong here again tonight if they want to pull it out over the Tide. Out of bounds there by Prakaski.
Very nice routine. Too bad for the out of bounds deduction. But you know, Maggie, that's the way it is. You have one great event, or you can have one bad event, and it can pull you way up or drop you way down, and that's why there's 4 events.
Next on beat for Alabama, Shania Adams.
We've said it once, we'll say it again. This is coming down to the wire. Every single score counts. And coming off of Kylie Kwame's routine, which is a 9-1, certainly Alabama will want to drop that score. So the pressure's on as we see Shania Adams start her routine.
We have Skylar Killa Wilhelm up, and she did not have a good routine last weekend. So if she can improve her score, that will help the Cats in this tight battle here. SEC Friday Night Heights. Beautiful front aerial on the beam. Acrobatic series. Oh no. Wow. That is just off tonight on the beam. A couple of them.
That will have a massive impact on this meet.
It sure will.
It doesn't hurt more because it was second in a row, but you just want to drop any routine that has a fall off the beam like that. They will not be able to do that with 2 drops. One of these scores will count.
And as I said, you know, the one fall puts pressure on everyone else, and it makes each and every routine after that more important and more tense. You know, some coaches don't let their kids watch the other routines just so they don't really know what happened. Nice gainer layout, full at the end.
We'll show you one more look at what unfortunately went wrong on this pass.
She was just off balance little, didn't pull her chest up.
Next on floor for Kentucky.
It is an unforgiving apparatus, the beam. So Kentucky has surely seen that. They've been keeping a close eye on the scores all night long as Skylar Killa Wilhelm comes up next for Kentucky. Leah, as you said, a solid routine last week, but didn't land that last connection how she wanted to. A significant deduction hurt her not only individually, but the team score as well. Looking for a bounce back from the 5th-year senior here.
Right, I think she's really going to help the depth of the Kentucky team. Very nice. You know, while she's slowing it down here, we'll talk a little bit about judging this year. They're going to, that's a very unique pose and difficult. But they're trying, you know, with so much closeness in the collegiate atmosphere, they're going to tighten things up just a little bit, lower a little bit of difficulty here and there to try to make everybody can't be scoring as high as we have been. So I think the fans need to understand there might be some lower scores this year, but that's the reason. You know, there's no change in the quality of the routines. We just have to tighten the scoring a bit.
And if you look at the scores from the first 2 weeks of the season, we've seen that trend so far.
Correct.
But Miss Skylar looking for a big score tonight. One final routine to go on the floor for the Cats. They'll want to count Skylar's number.
I think she's taking care of business this week. Let's look at that Bama beam routine again.
And what makes it so difficult. Shout out to producer Daniel for the kicks. A good example here of just how wide, or rather how narrow, this beam really is. Look at your shoe right now, or you can look at Daniel's, that works
just
too.
an average person's shoe.
That's how narrow this beam is, and when we say unforgiving, that's why. It's only a little bit
4
wider
inches.
than your cell phone. If you're holding a cell phone right now on your couch, look at that. That's just about the width of this beam, and that's why this event is so difficult. We have not gotten, or rather we have just gotten Shania Adams' score a 9.275. So you have 2 scores under a 9.3 for Bama. One of those, like we said, will count.
It's a nice series for Gabby there.
But Gabby Gladio certainly still wanting to finish strong.
She's another one of these gymnasts that has the long body lines. Just beautiful classic ballerina type dancer. Front aerial combination for fouette.
Some gymnasts have very calm, very peaceful music. They want to be relaxed, low key. I think maybe it says something about Gabby's personality. It's Jack Harlow. It's a little more upbeat, up tempo. High stakes moment. She wants to hear something that'll get her hyped.
That's right.
Using every little piece of real estate on this beam for the dismount.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
That's how you put an exclamation point on a beam rotation that was certainly not up to Alabama's expectations tonight, but Gabby Gladio doing her part.
Gabby, a senior, so she's going to put up big scores for Bama this year. Again, finish strong.
Speaking of finishing strong, we show you now Haley Davis and the routine she calls Ladies of the 80s.
She's the rock queen of this group. She likes the heavy metal, gets her pumped up. Double pike opening, perfectly done.
Certainly a gymnast who fires up the crowd and feeds off that momentum. You'll see her just beaming ear to ear during this routine after every hit.
You know, Haley has such great amplitude. She's a small gymnast, about 5'1", I think, but her leaps and jumps are just so high. Great amplitude. You know, you wouldn't have heard rock music in gymnastics.
Wow.
Years ago. That was a perfect tumbling pass.
So impressed by this routine so far.
She may become the new floor queen for the Cats.
Well, they are looking for one. We talked about Raina Worley earlier. She was the undisputed floor queen for 10s on this event last year. Now she's a member of the coaching staff. She still has a little bit of influence on this routine, working on the choreo for a couple of these routines. And you see an amazing pass there by Haley.
If she has the whirling wink at the end. But yes, Raina has definitely influenced these kids.
Haley Davis leaving her mark. The floor queen, the rock and roll queen with her Women of Rock themed floor routine. Leah, this was fantastic.
I want you to watch the landing on this double pike. That is a no balance stick. Here's another one. I think she went 3 for 3. Look at that. Not a movement. Her ankle started to roll, and she was able to contain that and not move her feet. That's
Haley
a true
Davis,
competitor.
a fifth-year senior for Kentucky, getting better and better. Now we show you one more routine now for Alabama on the beam. This score will not be counted. It's not an official routine. This is one of those exhibitions we told you about earlier. Good way to get a little bit of extra experience here. This is Ryan Rybicki. Rachel Rybicki, excuse me.
This young lady was off balance, but she was able to correct that without getting a deduction, and that's experience.
Well, you look at some of the beam scores tonight, certainly something the Alabama coaching staff will spend a lot of time and effort, energy thinking about this week. Good opportunity for Rachel to make a statement here.
Well, and for Bama, it's not like they're a bad beam routine. They just had a beam team, I'm sorry, but they just had a rough night. I mean, it happens. And beam is one of the surefire events that you have got to put up the consistent competitors.
Well, Gabby Gladio doing just that, a 9-9 for the junior on beam.
Very nice routine for Gabby. You can see why she's up there.
Dismount. And a stick for Revicki in the exhibition. But we show you now the bottom right-hand corner of your screen where the overall score sits right now. We will wait for it to be officially announced, but it looks like the 8th ranked Wildcats have upset the 3rd ranked Crimson Tide. We have another exhibition to show you, but we do have to tell you Haley Davis with a 9-9 on her floor routine as the last official routine on the floor for the Cats. Certainly helped put the exclamation point on it. Before it's official, we do have another exhibition for you. It is Cecily Rizzo for Kentucky.
Little tuck. Little too much lunge out of that, but nice opening pass for her. You know, another reason for this is, you know, this is a sport that has a lot of little injuries sometimes that keep kids out of a meet. Sometimes you just need to interchange somebody with somebody else that's able to jump right there into your lineup. So that's what these coaches are looking for. Who's your number 7 man out there? A little short on that.
And we've talked about the strength of the SEC. Both of these teams will continue to get a taste of that next week. Kentucky, a road trip for a dual meet against the Missouri Tigers. Alabama returning home to Tuscaloosa to host number 1 Oklahoma. So 2 more ranked matchups for each of these teams next week. For Bama, that'll mean back at home in their gym, and Kentucky, their first true road test of the season. But we're not done here tonight. We have to wrap things up and talk to one of your all-around leaders. Which one is it? You'll see next. The Wildcats pull off the upset. 8th ranked Kentucky, a 197.3. One of the elite teams this season to hit that 197 threshold, and what a night to do it over the 3rd ranked team in the country and on the reopening of this venue. Historic Memorial Coliseum home tonight to plenty of highlights from Delaney Rodriguez, co-champion of the all-around competition tonight for Kentucky. She ties Lily Hudson with a 39.450. We'll show you a couple of her routines here. Leah, she was stellar all night long.
I tell you what, you've got 3 personal bests tonight. Did you realize that?
Yes. Oh my yes. Oh my gosh. Tonight was so much fun. It was awesome.
I tell you what, you had a personal best in vault, bars, beam, and you tied your personal best in floor. So, girl, D-Rod, where did this come from?
Oh my gosh, just fueling the fire. I was so excited to come out tonight with all the Kentucky fans. This is my first time ever competing in Memorial, and it was so much fun. Oh my gosh, it was just amazing. It's literally a feeling like none other, seriously.
Well, this one came down to the wire, not just for your all-around title, but for this final team score as well. Did you and your teammates realize how close this one was tonight?
I don't think any of us really realize. We try not to look at the scores, and we try and just focus on our team and just having so much fun out there together, because really that's all that matters.
Well, like Leah just said, some of your best scores ever tonight, and we're only in week 2. Delaney, how do you go up from here?
Oh my gosh, really just focusing on the little details, just trying to improve every day, and just being really confident in yourself. That's always, those are my cues, just being confident and just knowing my capability and just having so much fun. Really, at the end of the day, it's gymnastics, and we all love this sport so much. And yeah.
You could tell this team was having fun in here tonight. A crowd like this, a venue like this, makes a big difference in that. What does Team 51 want to keep doing in this venue specifically?
Really just keeping consistency. I think that is separates teams for sure. I think just really being confident in ourselves and working on the small details. Sticks are amazing. We love those. So yeah, just keeping a positive mindset, and yeah.
Well, plenty to be confident about and positive about for this week for you. Congratulations again. Go celebrate with your team.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
A great night for Delaney Rodriguez, the sophomore for Kentucky. We'll let her go celebrate with her teammates as Kentucky gets ready to hear the final scores read. This is a big deal, Leah, not just for tonight, but as we continue to look ahead at how stacked this SEC is this season. What does tonight mean for the Wildcats?
I'll tell you what, this is huge. As we know, the parity, and I've said that 3 times already tonight, but in those top teams, but anytime you knock off a nationally ranked team, they were 3rd. That's pretty high ranking. This will do wonders for Kentucky's confidence. And Bama looked really good to me. They just made a few mistakes here and there, and they're not out of the mix. Let me tell you, they are not out of the mix. So great for Kentucky, and Alabama will be there.
Two teams that are very talented. We saw that on display tonight. We'll continue to see it throughout this season. Make sure you are locked on us. Friday Night Heights each and every Friday this season. That'll do it for us in Lexington. We have to say thank you to our whole crew, all of the gymnasts, the coaches who spent time with us this week. For Leah Little, I'm Maggie Davis saying so long from Lexington.